Bienvenidos and welcome back, y'all. We've got our halftime show coming up in just a couple of moments. But before we kick off some more trivia time, because I love player history trivia, we have to acknowledge that music kind of beasted. We had no idea what this guy was going to come in with, what kind of firepower. The Volibear was the lock-in. And as you pointed out, Josh, you know, Volibear tends to be really hard to pull off later the game goes on, because, you know, you only do one thing, you run in and try to down smash, and he did that every single fight, no matter how late the game went. I
hope so.
Yeah, I'm astounded.
You and I do remember that very differently. Let's see the tweet. I want to see the tweet. Because that was a game where it's Trevor and Robbie Bob all the way.
The tweet was not related to the game. It was related to the upcoming halftime show. Sorry, Josh. But hey, like, I'm all for the Robbie Bob and the Brady, aka Sketch Dreams, just cleaning up house on the damage profile. But I just could not get over, you know, the call.
I'm gonna be honest, I learned almost nothing about music that game.
Wow.
Like, he was there, right? That's not a knock against him. Just being there is fine.
His smites are on point. I learned something
That's true. That's true.
I learned something about him.
But that was a game where, like, the Volibear didn't do a whole lot, and then it was all about the team fights, and like you said, if he didn't stun someone in those fights, like, I would have learned a lot about him real quick.
Okay, well, so, like, do you know why I came in with the preamble about music, though?
Tell me why.
The reason is because I'm trying to figure out what our halftime show next is going to be and like do all my prep, and I'm just hearing Mad Magical go off about music. I'm like, hey, okay, that's the pop off. I hear music to our ears, boom, music is doing something right.
Hey,
but
his smites were on point. Like, that's all, like, I learned something about him. He was definitely, like, despite how hairy things got, the fact that he was able to steal away the dragon and securing a lot of these, like, buffs away where it looked like it could have been really dicey. The only one he missed, I suppose you could say, was the Baron. But even that was him looking for a steal. It was him on the outside trying to go into 5 members of Team Fish Taco to try to take that away, and still nearly did it by himself. So, props to him.
All right. Well, I know Robbie Bob and Brady pulled up the most damage numbers on the Cassiopeia and Ezreal, respectively. Quick honorable mention to Lunacia, because there was one fight where the Olaf almost 1v5'd. He took down 2 before he went down. But of course, Rally Cry, halftime showtime, and as I said before, it is a return of Who's That Player Team History Edition, because I just love reviewing history. Now, here's the thing, boys. We're carrying over the score from the first portion. But here's the thing, Josh. Here's the caveat.
Okay.
You are no longer allowed multiple guesses per round. It is one guess, and then you decide if you want to take the guess on the first team or as the rounds progress. So if you decide to go for the big baller 5-point answer and you guess wrong, you can no longer guess for that round.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
First player. This guy played on Team Fish Tackle.
They're literally one of the team, like, right now.
Robbie Bob.
No.
Okay,
literally,
there's my guess.
Okay. All right.
Literally everybody that is on Team Fish Taco is a valid answer.
That's all, like, and Robbie Bob did play for Team Fish Taco, so.
Hey, if you got the thing in the dark, you know, that would have been pretty.
That would have been hype. All right, you're gonna have to give me another team.
All right. Wildcard Gaming.
Ooh, Wildcard.
You should know this one.
I should?
Yeah.
That's not good. It's both Taco and Wildcard. I told you, I am so bad at these. All right, you're gonna have to give me another team, Mark.
Okay. AoE Gold.
Oh. Trevor.
No.
It's Quacker! It's Quacker! Like, the moment...
You're not supposed to guess! You already guessed!
I'm not getting the points. I'm not getting the points. I know this. I'm not getting the points.
He had one more. I was going to do University of Illinois and burn a champagne.
I would have gotten that one.
He guessed already. That's why he guessed already.
So. No points.
No points.
Dude, I am so bad at
he did
this.
guess already. Oh, you're right. Okay.
So that's the only reason I said it.
Okay, my bad. I'm a bad host.
You're good,
my bad. Okay. Yeah, it was Quacker.
Well,
right.
you do make delicious beverages for everybody that comes over, so you're a good host.
Oh,
it just takes you an hour.
Yeah, I'm working on being more efficient. Second player.
Real quick, can I just comment why did the first drink take forever, Mark?
That's not important.
He was trying to whip cream with a fork.
I was trying to hand whip it, man. Relax. Let me cook, okay? Hang on.
See, I gotta get invited over.
But if you cook like this, it's gonna take 2 hours.
No,
I still haven't even been invited over, so
You are welcome anytime.
That's not.
I tried to distract, so I can't fall further behind.
Oh my God, Josh! Stop distracting me. Okay. This player was on 100 Thieves Next.
Next.
I know. That's...
Ooh. Because it has to be a different class.
I bet Myra is screaming the answer right now.
Okay, I'm gonna Lunacia.
Nope.
Oh, there you go. I'm trying to do Josh a favor by guessing first too.
If he guesses early, then like
because I want to get you a chance to get points. So it's like
appreciate it. Okay, give me the next one. I'm really bad at this. I told you guys.
FlyQuest.
Oh, you should get this one.
Oh, Lunacia. Wait, no, that's already...
I just guessed that.
Josh!
Josh, come on. I'm gifting you these. I'm literally like, here you go, silver platter.
It's NXI.
It was NXI. I literally that was the only other one that I would have guessed.
That was the other one. It was like, oh yeah, NXI played for them a while ago.
Oh my God, this is so far neither of you have gotten points. We're going to our third player.
Okay.
Third player.
I'm trying to help you, Josh. I'm really trying to help you.
Oh man, this is
fine.
Okay.
This is fine.
Here we go. This player played on First Blood Crusade.
That's a team?
I know, right?
First Blood Crusade.
I'm gonna guess Trevor.
Nope.
Trevor?
See, I'm putting out guesses for you, Josh, because I feel like it's more fair if I guess first on the one clue.
I don't know.
Just wait. There's more clues.
Yeah, okay, give me another one. Give me another one.
Second team. This player also played on University of St. Thomas.
Okay, it's Robbie. It has to be Robbie, right?
Yes.
I know that one. I guessed it this weekend.
He's got points. Woo!
We're on the board. If I can get off the first team, I can tie.
All right, fourth player. This. Oh my goodness. Honestly.
Oh, I can't tie. Just kidding.
Oh my goodness. This player played on Olympiacos Alimão.
Excuse you.
Excuse you?
Olympiacos Alimão.
Wow. Can I get the language of origin, please?
Yeah.
This is a Greek team.
Greek?
I'll go with Onat.
Greek?
Nope.
Okay, cool. All right, I have to guess here if I want to even make it close. Let's go with music, because...
Let's
go!
He did it!
Yeah! We're close!
Woo! The other hint was, I guess the next team would have been Rock Bottom.
It wouldn't have helped.
I would have gotten music right after that one. That's nice. Where I would go. Oh, it's music.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. I think we still have time. One more player. Wait, let's go.
No. Oh, prediction says no.
Oh, Josh.
Oh, Josh.
Unable to close the distance.
You got close.
But you made it close, just like our tennis matches yesterday. So.
Good job.
I mean, you were on the winning receiving end. Anyway, halftime show is over, y'all. But we've got our last game of the day between Supernova and Team Fish Taco. We'll see if Supernova can end the week or end the day dominant 2-0, or Team Fish Taco tie it up.
Yeah. Let it be known, I'm never on the receiving end with Mark.
Okay, well, we're gonna just skip right over that. We're going to get to this game because we have our last game here on this channel, by the way. There's more games that are being played on twitch.tv/LCS_Challengers. So make sure that you check out that because there's going to be a whole other series after we finish ours because they're on their second one as well. We're on our second one, but they have a third one. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But here we have our game between Team Fish Tacos losing in that really well-fought game 1. All the way down to 41 minutes here against Supernova, but they have swapped sides now. And I'm curious to see how this impacts the draft for both teams because we didn't see any swaps in the previous series. Both teams are remaining on the same side. But here, I want to see what Team Fish Taco decides to go for because they drafted exactly how AoE did in their game 2 in game 1. Now, on the blue side, feels like they have a little bit more freedom. Like the Zeri obviously getting banned away is expected, but I want to see what their first pick is going to be.
Yeah, I'm actually rather surprised that Team Fish Taco chose to move over towards the blue side, right? It feels like on this patch, there's a couple of champions that are good first picks, but it's not as though there's a bunch of champions that are just like tiers down compared to what you oftentimes go for, right? You have Phelios, the Zeri, the Milio always at the very top right now, but it's not as though like if you lose one, you'll just get like the other one. It's totally fine. And now Supernova, it feels as though Quacker being forced to blind pick the Cassante in game 1 was a bit of a surprise to me, right? Like, Casante's a decent character, but we also got to see that Lunacia did really well on the Olaf into it. And now as we go on the other side, the question is Lunacia going to try and take away the Olaf right now, or is he going to let it go over to Quacker?
It doesn't seem like they're going to do that. Instead, they're going to grab Maokai for Rosethorn. It was banned by Supernova when they were on the blue side, so something that is still very powerful and also gives you a lot of control in terms of knowledge for Rosethorn. This is something that when we look at him as a jungler, yeah, he's cookie cutter, but he loves to have that control, the surefire play. Maokai is going to allow you that twofold, tenfold, but however many folds.
Yeah, it also creates a bit of an interesting switch to a lot of the things that Supernova was doing, right? Supernova was the team that was trying to go for a lot of these front-to-back fights and creating a lot of pressure that way, whereas Team Fish Taco now, they're creating a situation where it's almost impossible to try and engage into a Maokai. And Team Fish Taco should be able to build a very strong backline, right? Spawn did a pretty decent job on the Aphelios, but Onat had to be relatively aggressive on the Ahri in order to try and make plays where they're no longer required to do that. But Music, I said I didn't learn a whole lot about him on the Volibear game. I am going to learn a lot about Music off of this game whenever you pick up the Viego.
Yeah, and if we actually look at Music as a player, I believe Viego is something that he has a very good record. Yeah, he has a 7-3 record in his competitive history on Viego. This is something that he does love to play a lot and does give him a lot that they can do. But something we skipped over because we were looking at that Maokai is that Jax was left open for Lunacia, his most comfortable champion, the one that he got so many solo kills on last spring and even was absolutely dominating on when we watched him and how he was able to play in the playoffs.
Yeah. And we also got to see, all right, it was banned last game. It's been so strong for Lunacia just in general. And there was actually a recent interview with Whippo. He was talking, I believe it was about, I want to say it was about Bin, right? Where he was just saying, I can blind pick Renekton into anybody except against this guy because his Jax is going to clap me, right? And that's one of the things that kind of happens. Whenever you play somebody that is the best at a given character, it's like learning the matchup from scratch. And the Jax has been something that's very strong. Ooh. And the Ziggs coming through, I'm actually going to be surprised, right? We do have a couple of Ziggs specialists that are in the Challengers League, APA being foremost among them, but I actually suspect this is more likely to be played here by Sketch. I can't remember the last time Robbie Bob has actually played this character.
That's what I was expecting as well. I was looking at Sketch as being the player that tends to play a lot more of these mages. In fact, let me look at my handy-dandy notes. Like, yeah, Ziggs is the champion that he has quite a good history on when it comes to how he plays in the spot lane. But I'm really curious to see what they want to get for Trevor because they didn't grab that Rakan like they did in the previous game where they were able to get that pretty early on. That really was huge for Supernova to play around. And seeing as the band, the Lulu, Nautilus band away, still looking at that playmaker.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely need to look at what it is that Trevor is going to be able to do in this game, right? Because the engage currently coming out from Supernova is not very good. There's not a lot of ways for them to currently get in. You really need to give Trevor, or maybe Robbie Bob, unlike as Lissandra, ways to actually get these fights started. And as we take a look at this, we also want to see a lot of more physical damage. Ziggs is so much better when you are solo magic damage threat on a team, because you're disincentivizing anybody from building up that extra magic resist.
Well, see, I'm also wondering if maybe this is actually going to be Robbie Bob playing Cassante. Because this has been something that Robbie Bob has been running a good amount, something that can really help out the team, especially because you do have music on Viego. You're going to have a good carry potential from him in the jungle. Put Robbie Bob on something that's going to be more to facilitate the rest of the team. But Quacker also did such a good job on Cassante. It's hard to fully argue like, oh, he can't play this, we shouldn't see him on that. I think that's why they're waiting. They've got Blitzcrank for Trevor.
Interesting. Yeah, that is one way to try and pick apart some of these front-to-back team fighting style teams, is you just get the Blitzcrank and pick off one single person. And Trevor, another very cerebral player. In fact, this Supernova team just generally kind of very cerebral. But if you just kind of overload with characters that you do not want to be hooking into your own team, it kind of works out in your favor, right? The Jax, the Maokai, the Braum can always stand that initial burst while everybody else starts dogpiling on in. Now, the one thing I want to see coming out from Onat is some kind of burst damage, right? Team Fish Taco are a little bit low on the upfront damage side, and Spawn, we saw this earlier, right? If you do not have that upfront damage to burst a single person, Lens never really got off the ground.
No. It definitely was something that they struggled with. The Ahri is still open that they could go for, or this Annie, that's another thing that they tended to fall back onto for Onat, something that is got a lot of good burst potential, but also helps build up the rest of the team, creates a lot of space for the team. Plus, Nibbers, it's also a great way to disincentivize Blitzcrank from throwing out a hook.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who was actually saying it. I think it was Odd Orange during the CWL Championships. Like, yeah, Annie is just kind of a noob killer, right? Like, whenever somebody gets too close, you just blow them up. It's like, oops, sorry, you got stunned. And now we actually see both the Syndra and the Ziggs getting locked in for Supernovas. They are diversifying their damage profile in an interesting way. I'm expecting Robbie Bob to be on the Syndra and Sketch to be on the Ziggs, but this is a lot of zone control that will make Team Fish Taco's life a little bit more difficult unless Lunacia can find flanks.
Right, and that's what it's going to be really about, is how we look at these top laners. There's a reason why we built them up at the very beginning, because you look at Lunacia, sure, most solo kills coming in from Spring, but his team fights were also really fun to watch, especially on Jax. Jax is the one where he has the biggest impact, not only in the solo lanes, but with how he is able to find those flanks, especially into some characters that are very immobile, like a Ziggs and Syndra, when you don't have that satchel charge to get you out of dodge.
Yeah, Lunacia was a player that in Spring was oftentimes kind of worried about where he was supposed to be on the map, right? You would oftentimes find him just kind of standing somewhere in places that didn't make sense, but it feels as though that's something that he has improved on a lot since he first joined competitive, right? That's one of the things that you tend to see some of the most rapid improvement in a player, just because it's a transitioning from solo queue to competitive, and now we're starting to go right on in. Team Fish Taco, they're the ones lining up because Supernova have the Blitzcrank.
But still surprising to see that all of Team Fish Taco were looking for that potential on the top half of the map, and not Supernova. Supernova, in fact, they just completely scattered, went for the line of scrimmage, put down a little bit of vision control. Not really too worried, though, from either side, as Team Fish Taco continue to move around as a unit, still fearing that Trevor lie in wait.
Yeah. Now, we know Supernova are nowhere near, and in fact have not pushed out of their side of the map at all, but of course Team Fish Taco don't know that. And as they start throwing a couple of wards down, we will get to see how Spawn and NXI navigate this, right? Playing in the bottom lane, we didn't necessarily see NXI quite as much, I guess I should say, in the bottom lane, just because it was a relatively quiet lane last time around. It's going to be much more volatile now that there's a Blitzcrank.
Especially early into the game. If you're playing Braum, you know, later into the game, that's where you're like, yeah, I dare you to pull me. But early into the game, not as likely. Here you're kind of like, you know what? Still want to play passively. Still have to worry about a lot of the zone control that both Sketch and Trevor are going to be able to get over Spawn and NXI.
Yeah. He's waiting around. I wonder if he actually just goes for the hook on...
Yeah, I was wondering if it was a blind hook as well. Just look... That's the Chad Blitzcrank move. You just throw out the blind hook. Yeah. You're like, yeah, if he's there, he's there. You know, we get a something at least.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that your hook costs so much mana, right? Like, if you miss, you're just like, oh, well, I can't really do anything. Is uh-oh, Taco Lunacia.
This is what we expected when he gets jacked, right? We're like, all right, Lunacia jacked. You're not going to really like this lane phase at all, Quacker. You have to play so passively. The fact that Lunacia went for lethal tempo as well on Jax just to bully around this lane even more says something.
Yeah. Now Rosethorn also just going for a 3-camp clear into looking for something as the hook goes wide. Yeah, Rosethorn just creating a lot of safety down here on the bottom side of the map as they will go for a longer hook.
No idea, too. He went all the way around this ward, so that's going to be the stun, the flash in, Bramble smash back, getting that damage. RobbieBob doesn't even bother to flash. He knows there's no real escape for him. First blood for Internet. Nice early gank for Rosethorn.
This is one of the biggest vulnerabilities of RobbieBob that Team Fish Taco are going to be abusing, and now as they move towards the top side of the map, there's no way they really go for this dive, right? Like, they don't really have the wave, but Rosethorn, other junglers have accused him of being too cookie cutter, doing the same thing every single game. This is throwing a wrench into the works, and whoa, this is not cookie cutter.
No. I was about to say, looking for a potential dive that early onto Quacker. Don't necessarily hate it. I think that's a good look, especially because Lunacia has gotten so much damage already onto Quacker. We'll be able to take that Scuttle Crab on the top half of the map. They can easily reset aggro on it.
Yeah, and Rosethorn, I mean, it's Maokai. It's not as though you're going to be losing all that much just from spending a little bit of extra time trying to go for these camps and just looking for all of these ganks, right? You will still be able to secure a lot of your own camps, and look at this, Rosethorn still having not touched the Western Quadrant camps at all, instead going over towards their own Raptors.
I think he's more worried about what's happening in the bot lane. Having a Ziggs lane, just a Ziggs lane, doesn't matter who it is. With Ziggs, you're always going to have priority and push, especially early into the game against Jinx and Braum. Seems like he wants to crack that just a little bit, has that confidence in Lunacia, but how the tables have turned here for Lunacia, as he's the one getting chunked out by Quacker, and a slow push towards him, gonna force out an early recall.
Yeah. He should be all right. As long as he gets the recall off, he will be able to catch all of this, and instead going to be choosing to stick around as Rosethorn clears out the topside camps. And with music having gone for the full reset, Lunacia should be a-okay. So ultimately, Lunacia playing it a little bit safe, making sure he can farm it, does a good job. But Team Fish Taco, right, by putting RobbieBob in a bit of an uncomfortable position and accelerating ONAT, that's giving them a lot of tools to have the burst that they need in order to try and find those resets to spawn later.
We still need to see that play in mid lane really benefit more other lanes, right? Get outside of just having it where you have a little bit of a lead over RobbieBob, because RobbieBob, despite having died, is still actually slightly above ONAT in farm. He's doing a fine job pushing back the wave. It's just Syndra's and things. You're really good at clearing out these waves, even if you die.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that does happen in this lane is because the effective range of Syndra's Q is longer than Annie's Q, it's really tough for ONAT to kind of walk up and actually pressure RobbieBob with a lot of that damage. And we've kind of been seeing that a little bit as RobbieBob, you know, being a master of the jiggle, you have to all in like this. Wow.
And getting a huge chunk there on RobbieBob as well. RobbieBob holding on to his flash the entire time. Same with ONAT. The fact that now RobbieBob put so low, again, looking at Rosethorn to see if he's going to actually attempt one of these dives or if he's just going to play passively, waiting it out, getting this information on music the best possible.
Yeah, now that was a small thing there, but I love the fact that Lunacia still had his leap strike to jump away, because if Quacker gets that bit of a stun, he absolutely is able to ult Lunacia underneath the turret. But Lunacia not going too far with it, doesn't put himself in any danger at all. But good luck from Quacker as that does happen, and now Taco are going to be picking up the first dragon of the game. They only got one last game, and Supernova ended up giving them Dragon 4.
And here, not too surprising, especially because you did get such a big chunk onto RobbieBob early in that draft. Oh, nice pull onto NXI, but barely outside of turret aggro? Really? Really?
So judgment.
As a Blitzcrank player, I'm tilted on that one. You know, I see that, I'm like, really? Come on, at least one. At least one.
You go for the hook and then you flash, you know?
Yeah, okay, that is the ultimate Chad play, yeah.
Yeah. But here, Lunacia actually has a really good freeze as well onto Quacker up here in the top lane. Now, we haven't seen... Since like level 2, Lunacia really have a whole lot of pressure, but that will change later on in the game, right? Especially now that people are going Trinity Force on the Jax once again. It's going to be a lot of pressure that you can put onto the opposing top laner in the side lane. And Quacker, we saw, was mostly focused around trying to go for a lot of the plays in the teleports, going for a lot of these flanks, and Lunacia giving a ton of respect, actually looking like they expected it to go.
I think that's what he was expecting. It was a really big minion wave crashing underneath the turret. No information on where music is either. But he was expecting that there was the possibility, and with the Viego and how good you are at resetting with Cassante as well, getting pulled out from underneath the turret, I do like that look from Lunacia, giving a lot of respect over to Supernova.
Yeah, I feel like one of those things that is a sign of growth from the player, right?
It really is.
Yeah. Old Lunacia, Spring Lunacia would not have backed up there, but now Trevor and Music are coming around. Ooh, doesn't quite get spotted out by the sapling, but they're still here.
Nice clear from Onat, but here's NXI to try to defend. Body blocking best he can, getting the stun onto Trevor as well, but Music was not able to get his own. Instead, it's a rocket grab, forced away by the Nature's Grasp coming in from Rosethorn. Roots underneath the turret. Oh! The world, where'd that come from? Spawn, out of nowhere, was able to steal away a kill, and because he's excited, there's no way Sketch gets out.
Wow, what a play, and now he's diving.
He's diving. They've got this easily. Holy moly, Spawn.
Oh my gosh, what a crazy fight coming through. But the top side, Quacker solo kills Lunacia.
What is going on right now, Josh?
The entire game just erupts.
Seriously, like, let's watch this rocket just from nowhere. Just throws it out early.
Yeah.
Snipes him. And because of that, he gets the movement speed and he gets to the fight quicker so they can turn it around. Rosethorn now dies.
Timmy.
Oh, or does he? Does he die? Well, I might have spoken too soon. Okay.
Oh my god.
He's still alive. And Onat's got so much damage it scares away Quacker and Trevor.
Wow, what a crazy fight altogether. I love the long-range snipes coming out from both bottom lane members.
Okay, here we
we'll
go.
see this. And yeah, just kill him.
Oh, flash in, Quacker.
All right.
What a fancy move.
Quacker fire right on back up against Lunacia. Lunacia got one solo kill in game 1, and Quacker turning it right on its head, doing a fantastic job as NXI finds himself on the wrong side of the turret, but under no threat.
No threat because they know that Music, Robbie Bomb are on the top half of the map. Quacker still pathing his way. There's no Trevor either. They can play very aggressively. Team Fish Taco, all from that play, all from that snipe from Spawn, now have gotten a huge lead here, especially in this bottom lane.
Yeah, and Spawn is also like a super quiet guy. Just the willingness to go so more aggressive there. Feels like growth as well, but NXI starting this up.
Waiting it out, looking for the stun. They're just committing for the full dive on a Sketch. Just gonna take him out, and NXI survives because there is no threat. Okay, Spawn banked up a little bit too much of the turret.
Yeah, you know, it is what it is. It's not going to be giving over a whole lot, but I believe that was a shutdown that was...
It was still shut down. You know, hey, it's something.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. Overall, you aren't going to be losing too much of your turret. And with the Rift Turret getting picked up by Supernova on the far side of the map at the same time, it definitely feels as though Supernova still in this game. Now, I said that game 1 felt a lot like Supernova were winning, even while Team Fish Taco had a lead. Doesn't feel that way this game, right? It still feels as though Spawn is just going to be this monster throughout the rest of the game, and it's going to be entirely based around how comfortable Spawn is in a lot of these fights. He's got the tools to be safe. It's whether or not he's able to find the pockets of safety.
I think it's all going to be on how NXI really babysits him. Just sits in front of him, never lets Robbie Bob get any damage on him or Sketch, absorbing as much poke as humanly possible.
Yeah. So, Team Fish Taco, they are already setting up for this dragon, but Blitzcrank is so good at interrupting so many of these setups, but the Maokai also so good at guaranteeing a lot of setups, so it looks as though that missed hook is going to leave Team Fish Taco in a position where they should be able to pick up this dragon without a whole lot of contest. Music is still thinking about coming over.
There's a reason why we saw so much Maokai last split. When Maokai gets ahead, it's so suffocating. go up against them, the amount of information it gives you. This really leans into the playstyle of Rosethorn, getting that information, going for the surefire plays, so that way your team can always win. But that was a huge pull there from Trevor on NXI. Unfortunately, just no follow-up damage on top.
Yeah. Man, I always hate when the blast cones just send you directly straight up, but we have seen the Rift Hello started 3 times. Now, Team Fishtaco are starting up the Dragon for the 3rd time, and everybody's still moving around. Onat going to be backing away, but doesn't have a teleport to return.
And now Quacker playing aggressively on the Lunasia as well. We will not see the top laners interact because neither of them having TP. It seems that neither team really cares. As you talked about, both teams falling back away from the objective despite Team Fishtaco having so much control around the pit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just having that Blitzcrank over walls with positions to try and interrupt the set is enough to sway Team Fishtaco from going for these fights. And one of the things about Rosethorn that I've been fascinated in watching over the course of his history, right, is the fact that they have had some of these cookie-cutter splits where they are just sitting there and just going for the same kind of farming path and the same kind of ganks every single time, but also has had a lot of ability to kind of go for these unique paths early on in order to try and take people by surprise. But the one thing where that hasn't really evolved is later on in the game. Rosethorn is many things, but a flanking jungler in order to go for some of these big plays is not one of them, as we see Sketch get a bunch of plates in the first turret.
A lot of that, the legwork from Quacker, getting the better edge of Lunasia. I think that is uncharacteristic, at least of what we know of Lunasia now. This younger player, new to the league at the beginning of this year, compared to the newest edition in Quacker.
Wow.
Well, all that legwork, and when you have a Ziggs on your team, you take these turrets so quickly.
I love watching Ziggs do this kind of thing, as Onat thinking about chasing down Robbie, but not going to be going for it. Because look at what's getting responded to on the other side of the map, right?
Nothing.
Jinx is not getting anything at all. You're not doing damage to the mid lane turret. You force Robbie out, so he'll miss a couple of minions. But, I mean, Ziggs just walks top lane. They get the first turret, first break. Then they get the extra kills effectively that come with taking this second turret. That's just a huge influx of gold for Ziggs, who is just as strong of a later game carry as Jinx can be.
He does a lot of damage later into the game, plus the zone control that you have with him and Robbie Bob. It's all about making sure you can get that poke to land and make sure that nobody can get on top of you. And this is where we have to turn our attention over to Team Fishtaco and Lunasia. Struggling in this lane up against Quacker, feels like it's now time for a second duty to look for these team fights, look for someone that he can play around instead of just his own, as Trevor, double blast cone.
Nice.
Okay.
That was a lot of distance that Trevor was able to get with those 2 blast cones, but hey, you do what you gotta do. Also, okay, this looks unintentional. I was gonna say, it's like, are they devoting Trevor to just kind of duo lane with Robbie for a little while as Lunasia?
Not gonna get the stun, gonna get the smite, dashing away. Okay, going back to your point though.
I thought they were devoting Trevor to duo lane with Robbie. I was like, wow, there's a lot of investment in Sketch in order to try and give him the solo lane experience for a long time. But Team Fishtaco look like they're...
seem like they might, actually.
They might. I mean, they just have to respond to all the movement coming out from Team Fishtaco on the bottom side. But they are going to be getting a lot of damage on the structure, but they're not actually picking it up, which is surprising to me.
Well, it's hard, too, when you don't have your Jinx there in the bot lane either. You really need Spawn to be in the side lanes, especially because he's got the 3 kills early into the game. He is your Jinx, your late game hyper-scaling champion that you have to devote all your resources to.
Yeah. Well, you got to make sure that Spawn is strong in these upcoming fights, and I think that is something that giving a ton of gold over to Sketch at this point in the game will help a lot. Ziggs is actually really good into a lot of AD carries, just because of how much pressure the Mega Inferno Bomb actually puts on, especially these less mobile AD carries, because, you know, you're not usually going to take the 1,000 damage that the middle is going to do, but you're still going to take like the 600 that the outside is going to do, and that is oftentimes enough to reset players like Music.
Hey, and if you happen to land the sweet spot, you happen to land it, right?
Yeah.
It's even better. So there's so many things that work out well for Supernova, and utilizing that, but it's all about the slow, patient game that they have to play to make sure they can set up a lot of this control against Rosethorn, because this is where it gets difficult. Trevor getting caught out, rooted forever. No way to escape, no blast cones to save you this time around. They got the music on the other side, but they got the pick on to Spawn. Well, that's what happens when you get locked down and you get outplayed by the R of Syndra.
Yeah, I mean, just disconnected with the rest of the team. Supernova.
Flash away. Quacker now. He's in the middle of everybody as music's a bit too low. They've got the Root 2 onto Robbie Bob. Robbie Bob over the wall as Quacker's taken down by Lunacia. Rosethorn flashing over the wall. This is Team Fish Taco. 2-for-1 trade up.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff. Even with Spawn going down in that last fight, Team Fish Taco are the ones still on the map. Are they going to try and start off this Rip Trail? There's a lot of low health bars on both sides.
Now there's numbers, music too low, though. I don't think they really want to have music look to try to dive into this pit, especially when you have to go up against the likes of an Annie.
Yeah. Now Trevor, as he just kind of pokes around, trying to dissuade them from doing anything. It doesn't look as though Team Fish Taco are too dissuaded from much of anything. This bug is theirs. They're going to crack it open and go get some of the crab meat. But Alex, we have another Dragon and another Chem Soul this time around. And it is battling in 50 seconds. Both teams will be ready to fight around that. And both teams, when we take a look at the items, a lot of key players are going to start having 2 items completed.
Sketch has his 2 items completed. Big spike there for Ziggs. If Spawn can go back and get his 2nd item as well, that's going to be a big spike for Team Fish Taco.
He doesn't.
It's too bad, and that's good. That alone could be enough for Supernova to be able to take this objective without having to worry about Team Fish Taco contesting too heavily.
Yeah, I mean, Team Fish Taco, I mean, the Zeal is incredibly efficient, and they are creating enough space here in the mid lane. They bring over the Maokai as well, right? This is Rosethorn's kind of specialty, right? Taking a lot of these front-to-back style team fights, but...
It goes wide. They got 5 members here mid lane. Looking for the engage onto Trevor. Trevor's bursting down low, but they're looking for Spawn. Spawn flashed away to be able to survive, and now Quacker is in danger.
They got him.
Pulled back away, looking for Cassante as he goes all out.
Music!
Music gets 1, and he can trade up. He can look for Ona, but he's got to be careful. He lost his own life, and Sketch has to flash away. Zap not connecting, but they already got 2 members. Again, another trade up for Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, and they're looking for more. Sketch has to use the South Charge to get away. It's another turret going over, and Team Fish Taco left with more members on the map for this Dragon. I did really like the look from Music, just missed a couple of key abilities in order to actually close that one out. But Team Fish Taco now rewarded with their strong play here in the mid lane. Spawn 5-2-2. They pick up another Dragon, put themselves in the kind of situation that Supernova was in Game 1, where they're already up 3 Dragons to none.
That's what I was just about to say, Josh. I'm like, it feels like the shoe is on the other foot here. As Team Fish Taco, they're the ones that they got a nice lead there with 3 Dragons, but unlike in Game 1, where Team Fish Taco still had a lead at this point in the game, and that it was Supernova who still somehow felt ahead, Team Fish Taco have both the gold lead and they feel ahead.
Yeah, they definitely feel ahead. They're the ones going for a lot of these plays, and they have the tools to just kind of run at Supernova. This mid lane turret might go down, but Rosethorn has some other ideas.
They got Onat on the other side. They can get low. That's going to be the TP. Looking for the re-engage. They're looking for Sketch. They got the stun, but it was on to Quacker. And here's Lunacia jumping into the back line. Instead, they have to turn their attention onto the tanky member. Bounce around. Getting 1 dead. Trevor going to be the next target, but the Night Scout of the week was able to disengage. And
that's a stun.
And they get the flash out. They all 2.
That's a reset.
Gone, and they've got the reset. But Spawn so low. Burning. Burning. 1 more. The tank is there for Sketch to make sure. Again, a 2-for-1 fight. But this time, it is still going to be the carries now in a bad spot for Team Fish Taco, so they can no longer fight back.
Yeah. Oh, Rosethorn.
Rosethorn, you don't know how to fight against him. He's got Leandries. He's got damage. He's got burn. All he needs to do is land one more bouncing bomb. The burn isn't enough. It's not enough. How much health? 5, and it somehow gets the kill for Adixai on top of it.
Dude, the number of burn kills that we've seen in this game has actually been kind of ridiculous, right? Sketch just burned to death. We almost saw Rosethorn burn to death. Spawn has died to burn at least once this game. But I also want to talk about that, right? We have seen Spawn. It's the 2nd time this game where after getting the resets, he gets a bit too big for his britches, shall we say. He keeps going around and just runs right into a band of outlaws. He ran into Robbie Bob and Sketch the first time. This time around, he just gets blown up on the other side of the fight by trying to run after Sketch and Robbie Bob again. Gotta give a little bit more respect. He's trying to ego the skill shots, and I like it. You just gotta actually ego them.
Well, maybe it also works out, though, because he's 6-3.
True.
Spawn is in a good spot.
He's doing step 1 correct.
He's doing step 1 correct. He's getting the kills, even if he's dying afterwards. But now, the team's got a lot of damage, and they're quickly burning down this objective. Sketch is not in the position. That's going to be the TP coming in from Quacker.
Onat
getting the stun onto Trevor. They got the snipe too, so now Spawn, he's got himself excited. He does even more damage to Quacker, but to flash out of there all the while. Lunatic getting chased away. He's chasing out Robbie Bob, so Robbie Bob's not going to be a factor that they have to worry about against Spawn. But Robbie Bob does kite out Lunacia all the while. Spawn got himself another kill, and he's excited once again. Back onto the Baron. They have yet to lose the leash. The damage, the snipe, as music is low. It is going to be secured on the other side, but they've got one kill. He's got to get the reset. Music barely surviving, but he stole the wrong person. Dashing away, could not get onto Onat. So it is Spawn with a killing spree. A Baron on top of him. Team Fish Taco, they are in a perfect position.
Yeah, we're seeing that music, he's going for a lot of these plays, is getting so close to making them work, but it does feel as though this time when being put under the pressure, not quite coming up with it just quite yet. I mean, he's still a rookie though. He's got a lot of time left to grow. I love the fact that he's going for these looks, but again, it is Spawn, one of the most veteran players between these two teams in this game, who is 9-3-3, finding so many resets and not going too far forward this time, is able to get away with it.
Feels like he was listening to you, Josh. He's like, fine, you know what?
Fine.
I'll wait for them to come to me. I'll get excited, so it's even easier. So all I have to do is last hit them, so I get all this movement speed and attack speed.
I love last hitting my opponents. It's super awesome, but now...
Me too, but I'm a support player.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that one at another time, but we finally see Team Fish Taco with the Baron buff. This is what they need to actually chew through, right? Ziggs is not yet at the point where he can single-handedly stop a push all on his own, even through the Baron. That'll come at some point. Supernova, they're going to be having to trade on the other side of the map, while Team Fish Taco actually are able to pick up multiple structures on the top half.
You have to wait until we get that death cap completed for Sketch. Getting a little bit of bonus gold there as Robbie Bob takes down an outer structure all the way in the bot lane might help out. But something better would be a kill on Onat. Something like that, the shutdown that is gifted over to music. That's going to definitely put Supernova in a bad spot. But like you said, top lane now being cracked open. That's going to be an inhibitor turret taken and the inhibitor on top of it all.
Yeah, what does Supernova try and do from this position? Do they feel threatened to end?
Base race? Hello? You still have to worry. There's a lot of damage that's going to come through.
Yeah.
They might be able to take one structure. There's going to be the central charge, but they've lost music. He died to the execute out of the turret. Now
they're going for the fight.
Not at all. They're looking for the fight. That's going to be the TBN. Nexus turret gone. One is taken out and toppled as Quacker taking a lot of the damage.
He's
getting kited. Spawn's excited. He's got it all, and he can clean up this kill. Clean up this fight for Supernova, but they got to be careful still because Sketch now back with Trevor. They've got a turret still standing in their way. Spawn is low. Sketch has got damage. He can look for that poke with the bouncing bomb pulled back in on top of the minefield, but they got the zap to connect. Waiting to get it all out.
So low.
Somehow survives. Sketch has got to continue to land these skill shots onto people like Spawn. Slowed down with the mine, the burn, the bouncing bomb. Sketch, the hero, keeps the game alive as they got another one down from Team Fish Taco.
Wow, and they're looking for everybody, trying to find Lunacia in a bush as well. Team Fish Taco, they were so close to ending the game there, but just a little bit too far away. And now Supernova, very similar spot. This feels like so many themes coming from Game 1 just being repeated in Game 2. Come on, script writers, you can't just flip them and think we wouldn't notice. Supernova putting it up. They're going to get Dragon 4 after their base is already starting to crumble.
Yeah, but they keep it alive. They keep the game going, Josh. Even if it's the exact same script as before with the 4th dragon picked up by the team on red. Somehow, Sketch, he keeps this game going for Supernova.
And he's close to getting that Rabadon's death cap as well. When that
he might be able to get it on his back.
Yeah, he might have it right now. Supernova will be absolutely massive as we see more and more items coming through. And Ziggs and Syndra, both crazy scaling champions, right? I believe Robbie Bob has already gotten enough Syndra bucks at this point to get the extra AP potentially coming through as well. And so Supernova, like they do the damage. That's not going to be the issue. The issue is going to be whether or not Team Fish Taco can find the correct engages to go for these fights. And
big blast cone.
They'll go in different directions.
Yeah, but all the same, they're still going in one singular direction at least, and that is towards the base of Supernova. Getting everything locked in order. They have a free lane in this top lane that will constantly push back for them. Sketch.
There's no way.
has to put down the satchel charge. He'll be fine. Quacker's there to defend him as well.
Unstoppable, not going to be going down. That is going to be Rose Thorn's ultimate, and yeah, you cannot push against this guy. He has the Rabadons completed. Oh!
Okay, the pull onto NXI though. That's not the target you wanted to look for, Trevor. You lost your life because of it, and Quacker,
Lunacia!
Well, Lunacia, it's his time for the flank. It's his time to be a hero, but he punted out of there. All the while, Quacker nearly dead. He'll be forced back to the fountain while they topple a structure. Team Fish Taco waiting it out for the minions to start pouring in to yet another lane, another inhibitor turret.
Yeah. But it is enough to stop the push from going any further, right? They lose a couple of members, they lose the turret, but the game continues. That gives Supernova another opportunity to try and go for a crazy fight. But just as you called out, you can't be hooking NXI when you got Onat standing right around the side with all the extra damage that he is able to do.
Oh, no music. Skirmishing a little bit against Rosethorn. Oh. No information on where the rest of the members of Team Fish Taco are. So while they get a lot of good damage onto Rosethorn, Onat, the moment he shows his face, Quacker and Music both bail out of the fight.
Yeah, we're done. We don't need any more of that. That one is actually scary. That guy does damage, and so Team Fish Taco, they're setting up. They're already first to this Baron, but this time Supernova have plenty of opportunities to try and come in. And they do a lot of damage to anybody who's in the pit, right? Remember that Magic Resistance Shred is still there, and Team Fish Taco, they're going to be starting it up. Spawn does a lot of damage.
Sketch still has a long way to get back. It's down to 50%. Music, we asked you to do this last time. Stealing away the Baron. Super Blast Cone there as well. They've got the root. He goes in a little early. But
he gets it!
Music! And his rookie split steals away the Baron from Team Fish Taco.
That might be enough to save the game, right? This Baron is the thing that Team Fish Taco need to try and push into Sketch and Robbie Bob, and it's not there. Now they just got to go for a fight, and they're doing it with NXI and Lunacia already at half HP.
But Sketch here should be able to clear out this minion wave, having the benefit of the Baron too.
Oh,
but they've got to survive. They've got to get away from all this damage that's thrown at them by Spawn. They'll lose the mid lane structure as Rosethorn bounces back.
Oh,
Robbie Bob, he's gone. They've got Spawn. He's excited. With the mid lane open too, the inhibitor will be toppled. Another one gone, but it seems that Team Fish Taco understand they cannot continue this one. Music is about to come up. Flash away. Barely surviving as Supernova somehow again keep the game going.
And they still have their top lane turret, or the top lane inhibitor, which has respawned at this point. Supernova, they have to try and prevent the backs coming out from Team Fish Taco. We're getting another fight around this upcoming dragon here very shortly, right? Team Fish Taco, they want to try and find ways to force Supernova to fight when they aren't in a defensive position, right? If Supernova are just trying to defend their bases, like, there's just so much damage that Sketch and Robbie Bob can pump out every single time. But, God, 13-4-4 coming out from Spawn. This guy is so fed. He just needs that first kill, and he can carry the rest of the fight.
He's got a stopwatch in his inventory as well. So much more difficult to actually kill Spawn. But if you can pull it off, Supernova, if you can kill Spawn, you have a fight left in you. But you got to be so careful, especially because 20 seconds up until a Chemtech Soul can be picked up by Team Fish Taco.
As they start moving in, look at where Lunacia is. What kind of flank can he go for? The vision can be cleared out. They're trying to force.
Looking for the engage. They've got the damage. And there goes
Spawn, watch Spawn.
They've got the damage. Spawn's on the other side. Untouched. They can't do anything. And he is free firing on Supernova. Spawn make it 15-4 to his name. Team Fish Taco have got what they came for to even up this series. Tie it up at 1 apiece as they escort the minions. Only Sketch remaining, but does he have what is left in the tank to fight back? You did it once, but you can't do it twice. There's not enough that you can do to stop Team Fish Taco, to stop Spawn on Jinx, even though you're trying. It was all an inevitability once Spawn got excited. Game 2 tied up the series. All day today on this stream, we have had ties.
Great play coming out, though, from this game, right? We got to see some evolution of Team Fish Taco now on the blue side. One of the players that we were looking at for this squad was Spawn. played in LCS recently for Dignitas, played for Dignitas Academy and Challengers prior to that, is now here for Team Fish Taco, and man, the way that he was getting a lot of these early fights looked fantastic. But we're also seeing growth from this player, right? Trying to go that extra little bit of distance. Got shut down a couple of times, but that's the way you gotta play in order to try and get better at this game. Testing his opponent, saying, you have to hit these skill shots in order to punish me for these moves.
Have to hit them, and you also have to make sure that he doesn't get to that point as Jinx where you have 3 items and you can get 1 early kill in a fight and you're excited. And what can you do from there unless you can burst him down? The answer we saw from Team Fish Tacos was they win the game because of it. They get all that gold, they get all that damage coming in from spawn, so they can pick up that tied-up series at 1 apiece.
Yeah. I also want to say we did learn a fair amount about music over at that game, right?
His smites are good.
I love the fact, he's got great smites, and I love the fact that he's looking for these angles. It's still a little bit shaky before some of the first real stage games coming here at Tier 2. It's very promising. It's not there yet, but has so much potential to improve over the course of the split.
And we will definitely see a lot of that throughout the week because we still have more games for this week. We also have more on the LCS Challengers, as well as we have an interview that we still have to get to. We got ONAT on the line, so Rafa will be back after a short break so that you can have that. We'll see you in just a minute.
Welcome back, y'all. We've got ONAT, a.k.a. O-Nation here, ready to make that game station here on the interview desk. And first of all, I've noticed you play for Team Fish Taco, but you got the Supernova jersey. You're paying a little respect? What's happening here?
Not so much respect, but just reminding them why they're here in the first place, you know?
Oh! That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? The 1-1 even up the series. They got the better of you in the first game, but the second game, y'all bounced back, evened up the series. It was a bit of a spicy game, I know. I mean, you were just kind of lamenting on, I'm just playing Annie, but you know, if you had it your way, you know, what champion would you have really wanted to play and show the world that you're a beast on?
Well, I mean, if I could choose the mid meta, everyone would be dashing around playing Akali Sylas, but I could just sit here and press R all I want. You know, it's the meta, so I don't really get to choose. I like Ahri. It's my main champ and it's in the meta, so I can't complain about that. I got one of them.
There you go. Yeah, at least you got a little bit of mobility to play around with and make some highlight reels and montages. But let's talk about this new Team Fish Taco roster because, I mean, it's a lot different than the one that competed in the promotion tournament. What made you want to come to this Team Fish Taco roster?
Well, we actually, compiled the roster ourselves, and Team Fish Taco was willing to pick us all up. So it's like a group of friends playing together, so we all have good synergy, we're willing to criticize each other. So we just wanted to play together, and Team Fish Taco was willing to pick us up.
There you go, man. And sometimes the roster, all it needs is, you know, friends that have common ground and understanding, and I think the most important thing is when you put that roster together is you gotta make sure the synergy is there. And if you guys are all willing to communicate bluntly and, you know, straightforward, hey, these are our problems, we got to fix on them, it's a lot easier to do than a roster that you don't personally put together, right?
Oh, for sure. Like that's just, you know, we've been talking with each other for a long time before this split, so there's nothing that gets held back in review.
Yeah. So looking forward ahead, I mean, we've got a whole summer split ahead of us. This was just only day 1 of the Challengers League summer split. You know, what kind of expectations do you have for yourself as an individual and then for the team?
Well, for myself, I know most mids that debut do really bad in their first split, but I think, you know, I can expose some people. I can play really well. I think I won't get, you know, expose myself, and I improve really fast, and I showed that already. So by the end of the split, by playoffs, I'm hoping that I could become a real problem. I think people aren't thinking about me when they think about who's gonna make top 3 mids this split, but I'm gonna aim really high and try to achieve that, and if I can't, you know, it is what it is, but I genuinely think that I have the ability to, and I'm gonna aim for it. Okay. And for the team, I think everyone has a really strong upside. Every single player on our team, top lane, support just role swapped. Everybody knows the AD is a beast. Everyone knows Rosethorn. The upside on every single player on our team is infinitely high, so it can be really good. And I want our team to do really well in the playoffs. I want to upset some teams.
Hell yeah. You see the potential in not only yourself, but the rest of the team as well. I mean, you've got experience in a couple members and then exciting players that are just ready to show that, hey, this is why we should not be slept on at all. And in 10-team landscape, you know, smaller pool than 16 teams. So it might be harder for you to really stand out within that top half of the bracket. But, you know, you mentioned that there's some mids you want to expose. You don't have to call them out now. But if you want to later on, you know, I would love to revisit this narrative. Or do you feel comfortable just shouting out?
I'll hold on to it.
All
right. But I will have another interview in the future because I will expose them and I'll be here.
Okay.
And then I'll talk my stuff then. So.
Yeah. Talk that king. Let's go. O Nation, baby. All right. It's a pleasure to meet you, bro. I hope to see you more on the broadcast. You know, you got to keep up the dubs if you want to get back on the interview desk. And I'm sure I'll see you again, bro.
Yes, sir. Will do. Thank you, guys.
07, baby. All right. Let's bring back Mad Magical and Joshi to close out the day. Rally time. Bryson post-game interview. My bad. You know, it's been an off season for all of us. You know, we're all rusty. But here, Mad Magical and Joshi, to round out the day, let's check in with the standings across the board as we still got games going over on LCS Challengers, where FlyQuest and FlyQuest Fear played their match. 2-0 for FlyQuest, and Disguised and TLC, aka Team Liquid Challengers, played their series, and it was a 1-1, a tied game. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was tuning into both streams at the time, and I was trying to see the co-stream from Disguised Toast as well. And that series was a banger, y'all. You're gonna have to go back and check it out.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm bummed mostly because we're so close to having all ties. If FlyQuest Challengers and Fear had gone 1-1, ties across the board. What a way to start a season, though. How close we are to having everyone at 1 apiece, showing how close the competition all is. I love to see this. Obviously, there's one more series left to play. That's going to be on LCS Challengers. That's going to be Evil Geniuses Challengers versus Maryville. So we'll get good looks of these teams. Like having Evil Geniuses Challengers, a team that was really hyped up in spring, but had all those issues when it came to Visa. Actually having the whole roster to start off the split finally. I'm really excited to see how that goes.
Yeah. I'm not particularly surprised, though, that we are seeing a couple of games that are not ties, right? FlyQuest Challengers are currently my front runners for the team I think is most likely. Yeah, they're looking very strong, right? The fact that Disguised and Team Liquid Challengers had to play each other in the first round is exciting because we'll also get to see them later on in the split for a rematch. But those are two other teams that I think are very likely to be front runners.
Awesome. Well, it does round out our broadcast for today. But before we go raid twitch.tv/LCS_Challengers, we want to give a huge shout out to everyone that has subbed to not just this channel, Path to LCS, but also over on LCS Challengers. I just want to
keep subbing. Keep get the subs. Keep subscribing.
Over 700 subs across both streams, y'all. Shout outs to Kelsey Moser, who has given so much love to both channels. Polymer on this channel, Peter Dunn, Tiza, Shawnatone, and Lena. There's so many people to thank that it is just insane. Thank you so much for supporting
the players,
scene,
everyone. Come on,
supporting
you got it.
The players, and we're gonna keep doing the best broadcast that we can for the summer and for the players. Until then, we're gonna see you all over on LCS Challengers. So go raid them. Let's go.
Everyone, let's go. Drop the emotes.